partnership with the Horizon Track Club. Welcome to Expanding the Horizon, a podcast focusing on North American track and field where we recognize the grind and show what happens in every runner's careers behind the curtains.
Awesome, welcome to the first episode of Expanding the Horizons, partnered with the Horizons Track Club. I am your host, Nick Bauer, also our host, Kieran, house right here. This podcast is in partnership, like we said, with Horizons Track, focusing on shining light on Canadian running scene, whether you are an established athlete trying to make your first breakthrough, or you're working your way through the ranks. Our goal is to bring attention to hardworking and the success of Canadian running. We got a lot to talk about today. We just had the UW preview meet on January 15th at the Dempsey Indoor in Seattle. A lot of fast times going down, especially some Horizons Track runners and the SFU runners here. We got Jordan Schmidt, Paul Buckingham, Aiden Good with some big PBs in the 8.
Yes,
a couple of people in the 3,000 meters, including Aaron Ahl, our guest today, who ran a blitzering 7:53.89. Mm-hmm. And so that was huge. Yeah.
Stand up for Aaron, man. Let's go. First guest. Yeah.
Aaron, man, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on,
man,
boys.
Thanks for joining us.
This is sick.
Man, honestly, yeah. Do you want to run us down real quick about the whole race? Like, what was going through your head before? How'd the race feel?
It was pretty good. Honestly, I mean, I didn't really expect what I ran. To be fair, I put out this post, as you guys saw before, where I was predict my time, and then I kind of got, it was my confidence took a shot right there, because it was like I kind of have to perform because these people were giving me fast times, low 750s. So, but yeah, honestly, it was a perfect race for what it was, because I just got to hop in with a bunch of fast guys and shut my brain off, and then they carry me to a fast time.
There's I think 4 pros?
4 or 5, yeah.
It's pretty sick.
So some big names. Definitely the most stacked heat I've ever been in. So
Yeah, no, I knew it was stacked. I was watching on the infield, and I seen right from the start, you and also one of your teammates, Charlie, you guys were at the back, and that was the first time I've ever really seen you guys at the back of a race, and that could just show how stacked the field was, right?
No, it's true, because literally the whole past year when we had all our in-person meets and just our team, it's that whole season is just worrying about hitting splits and who's going to take the lead and are we going to have to get a pacer. And then it literally switches the whole tempo, because this one it's none of that matters. It's I'm going to be at the back. I'm just going to sit there and then do the work for me. I don't really have to think too much.
You think
about
that helps? What does it do to your mental game to be like you said, going from having to be the one hitting the paces versus holding on almost?
It depends who you are, I think. For me, to be honest, I almost prefer not to just being able to just shut off and sit in the pack and race, compared to some people who they're better just time trialing. But I think if there's someone there, or just a whole heat of people that I'm trying to beat or that I know are fast, then I'm going to do well, because I can just sit in there.
Well, you're obviously just going to go with them, right? I mean, you're not the one doing all the work sitting at the front.
Yeah.
Much more different. And I mean, what you said about the comments and the posts that you made on Instagram, did that really you had to make sure that you were going to run fast? You really going to...
Yeah, I don't know. It was just another thing. If anything, it made me more nervous, I would say. Not nervous, just
that extra
I was
pressure
kind of
almost.
Doubting fitness a little bit. Not doubting, but as everyone here knows, we had a really limited access to tracks through the break. So it was kind of not the workouts that we were doing weren't necessarily what I'd prefer to be doing, not on a nice 400-meter track. So, but I don't know, it definitely got the hype going. So I felt like I had to perform.
Yeah, well, you had 15, 20 comments with people messages. I was even reading through. Some people were sleeping under 807 or some bullshit like that.
Dude, I honestly
I
appreciated those comments. It's that way it's not
it's a joke, more of a joke. It's more
not even a joke, but it's say if I ran something I would have been happy if I ran 7:59, or even if I ran 8:01, 8:02, I wouldn't have been happy, but I wouldn't have felt bad about it. Mm-hmm. But say if every single person had said something 8 minutes and I ran 8:02, it'd just make me look kind of stupid.
7:49.
Yeah. So
no doubt. Man, well, what? I had a question in my head real quick, and I just completely lost it. But no, man, that was when I saw that time, actually, like I watched the race actually afterwards, and it was like just genuinely impressive. Like you had some fast guys ahead of you. Like there were what was like 6-7 pros ahead of you, or
Not quite as many. Yeah, it was
I
like
think
4
like
or 5.
five. Yeah, 4 or 5.
Was Joey B in there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joey Berriatua, Tinman lead. I gotta give it to that guy. He ran pretty well.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna be able to get a Tinman scalp, but
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah. He had an impressive double as well that day, actually. He ran the mile as well.
Mm-hmm.
I actually talked to him afterwards, too. Such a genuine guy. I'm not going to lie. Like, all the Tin Man slander I see on in the internet, I'm like, damn, I don't know who these guys are. But then, like, when I met him, he was just, like, super genuine. Man, like, that's kind of just goes to show, you know, everyone's just, like, they didn't really know what to expect from that race at UW. It's, like, everyone's kind of, like, home opener.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's just going in there with, like, kind of no expectations. And, I mean, that's kind of the best way to race, in my opinion, is just, like, having no expectations. But
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, a lot of the time coming back from the break, it's like you don't know what everyone else has been doing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, secret almost. You want to have a good opener.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that did have good openers. So if anything, that's showing how fast times are going to be this indoor. So
no.
That must be though, like, it's not just an opener. Like, it's almost a 13-second PB in your last time. So having that like new level of fitness, at least in like longer distances, like, how does that set up your confidence going into the rest of the season, knowing that you're like 13 seconds faster than what you've done before? Like, you think that's going to translate over to like the mile, maybe, if you drop down as well?
yeah, honestly, I definitely think it will, because like this exact time last year is when we just had a time trial 3K outdoors, and I ran 8:06, and then I ended up running like 3:38 in the 15 that summer. So if anything, you think it'd be getting me ahead. And like, I want to say this. So with like the debut thing, I don't want to like believe in rust busters. You know, I hate when people say that. It's like, it's not a rust buster. Everyone knows how to fucking run. You train, you move your legs.
You would assume everybody's getting ready for the preview meet, like coming out of cross country, just still training through the winter.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know it's Christmas break, but fuck, you got to do your thing. You know.
Yeah. So, no, but I'm honestly really excited with my fitness where it is now, and especially in the mile, because I still think I'm more of a miler. The 3K definitely suits me well, but I don't know. After watching, we'll probably talk about it later, but like Kieran's mile,
Yeah.
355,
I was like,
yeah.
would have loved to be in that heat. I think I still could have done well with my fitness right now in a mile. So I'm confident. It sets me up super well. So I'm looking
So
forward to
what are the plans now for, like, it sounds like you're excited for a mile. When is like your next attempt at it?
Trying to think the name of the meet. It's in Boston. It's in like 2 weeks, or I guess like a week and a half now. I'm gonna run a mile there as well as a DMR. So it's gonna be a double. It's 2-day meet, but the DMR is the first night, and then the second day is the mile. So yeah, try and go sub 4. Right
So
there.
the DMR as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
It's been but yeah, you'd have to think that like potentially sub 4 is on the cards. Like your last mile, when was it, like 2 years ago before COVID, like 4:06. So
yeah, exactly. And there's no way when I ran that 4:06 I would have ran something close to 7:53. So, dude, I don't know. It's one of those things where like running a mile is definitely different from a 3K in the way like just the systems you use. Like you can easily go over your limit and just hit lactic way too early and blow up in a mile. So it's hard to say exactly, especially because we haven't done like many super mileage specific workouts like that. So I like to think I could run sub 4, no doubt, but I don't know. I gotta put it down.
Put it down first.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, Christ, if you're running 3:38 in the 15, and then you just drop this 7:53 into 3K, man, like those are some good numbers, man. I like Kayla was saying, like there's no doubt that should be in the cards, and especially on a fast track like in Boston.
Yeah, that's true.
100%. I mean, you got 2 miles though back to back to go sub 4 on both in each day.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I definitely would have preferred the mile to be first and then the DMR second, but that's not how it swings. But it's not like a super difficult double. I mean, you can definitely pull that off. So.
Are you always the mile in the DMR, or do you ever try like the other one, the 8 or the 12?
I think the 12 is actually a really fun event, and I'd like to run the 12, but I think for our team right now, probably best for me to run the mile, just looking at the rest of our team. But we have a super solid team this year, so I'm honestly stoked to run the DMR because I think maybe not this first meet, but we have a shot at the D-II record, I think so. Yeah.
Who's going to be on the DMR this for that race?
So it'll be myself, Charlie Donat. The 8 is going to be, I think, you mentioned the names from our team in the 8. And it was Jordan Schmidt who ran the fastest, so Jordan will be on the 8 leg. And then the 4, I'm not sure who'll be on the 4 for the first meet because our top guy, Callum Robinson, has a little injury, so I don't know if he'll be back by then.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened to him.
I'm not too sure, but it's actually like a proper injury, so he's gonna be out for a couple months.
The whole whole indoor season, or is there a chance he'll come back for like a D2 record attempt?
I'm not too sure entirely, but honestly, he has to just be ready for outdoor, right? I mean, like Aaron was saying, this DMR team it has so much potential, and I think they'll definitely be contending for that D2 record. But it's gonna be good to see if we could get something all together, all the boys, and yeah, I think it would be good. But in this mile that you're running at BU, do you know anyone in the mile that you're gonna be racing against?
No, I don't know. We don't have any heats or anything yet, so I'm not sure who'll be there. But it's Boston, so typically they have so many meets throughout the year, but they almost always have a pretty solid mile, at least just for the fast heat. So hopefully there's a bunch of solid guys in there. Yeah,
I seen on Instagram today there's a little bit of talking with Christian Noble. That guy, if you guys don't know him, he's just super fast D2 runner. What about if you guys were to go up against 1v1 in that BU race? How do you think that would go down? Because you've been running impressive times, right?
Yeah, no, I think I can definitely take him. I mean, to be fair, he's more of a 3K, 5K guy who's trying to, because he already has some indoor records for the longer stuff, so he's trying to reach down for the mile. But I think that's it's a bit more in my territory.
Yeah,
so
he's going into your domain. Yeah. Let's show him what you're standing on my front lawn right now, brother. Go back up to the 3K, 5K where you belong.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, that would be pretty fun.
Yeah.
With the way the meets work out and just each team's schedule would be pretty hard to set something like that up, except for obviously at the national meet. But I don't see him running the mile at D2 Nats. I feel like you'd go
stick to the 3K.
3K, 5K double is way easier than doing the mile 3K double because the mile is heats and finals.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think those are I think he does have the indoor record for 3K and 5K. Well, at least the all condition one is still David Ribich, but
yeah.
You're looking at me looking for something. Well, I mean, to the point of what we're talking about with that mile, I mean, with putting any the jokes and anything like that aside, I mean, you obviously want just some fast guys in your race just to work with you, regardless if you're pulling them or they're pulling you, switching laps, whatever. It's just way easier to be running with fast guys, right? And that's what carries the sport through, right? You need people to be running fast, and you need people to be committed to run those times, and actually for yourself to get below. I mean, regardless if one of you were to go sub 4 and one didn't, you'd still be proud of the other guy for going sub 4. Christ, that's such a huge feat. I mean, even at BU, there's literally a list of names, and there's only under 50 names in the existence of that track that people have actually run sub 4 in the mile there.
No, it's getting crazy too, because I feel right now it's almost every other race that's a record goes down, right? People now, especially in Canadian running, I find this is kind of, I say it all the time, but it's the golden age of middle to long distance running. I think right now it's just a super special time. For example, looking at Kieran Lumb, just running 3:55 in the mile last week. I think that's just a really good sign of what's to come this year. It's gonna be very exciting to see what happens. So.
Yeah, and for the first time in a long time, it feels for the past few years, way back in early 2000s and stuff, there wasn't exactly medals being won by Canadians in distance running, but now we have such powerhouses like Mohamed, Justin Knight, throwing down some serious times, and with a lot of range too. The fact that Justin Knight can go 3:33 in a 15 and also be world class, top of the world class scene in 5K, 10K. It's just showing how far Canadian running's coming. You know, and that's a good point. Like trying to shine a light on athletes like you, for example. Canada does have a lot to offer, right? But there's like nobody really sees it because there's all the hypes in the American with NCAA.
Yeah, you look at flow track. It's all in the States. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, we're the only NCAA school in Canada. Like, you know, so I mean, what do we have in Canada? Like runner space, I guess. Is that
sometimes
even Canadian?
some meets, very limited
some
meets, only like maybe the high school championship.
And even runner spaces, like you're saying, like it's generally high school. Like you could get fucking, I guess, OFSA to watch that. I guess that's cool. I don't know, but even OFSA, I've always said it's kind of overrated. Like the runner space is definitely more geared to high school. But I mean, like we're saying right now, like it does seem like there's some really big names in Canada coming up at the international. I mean, I guess which really sparked it, I guess, for us in Canada recently was Andre DeGrasse, I'd say, and even Melissa Bishop. In the 8, which really put some kind of our footprint a little bit more for Canada on the international scene, it seemed.
No, for sure. And then after now, we kind of look at like the distance stuff, and we have 3 guys like at the Olympic trials last year. Like you, Aaron, what's it called, Cam, and also and Charlie, like
Dr. Cam, man,
Dr. Pro. I mean, you 3 come in like as Horizon, come in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, right behind CPT. Like, how was that experience? It's like at the Olympic trials doing that.
It was definitely sweet. I mean, it would have been the fact that it was during COVID took away a little bit because usually at like as far as track meets go in Canada, like Canadian Nats is like usually the coolest experience because there's the most people watching, even just at the track, even if it's not a huge stadium. It's just like I remember a couple years ago when they were in Ottawa and. Even though it wasn't like a big stadium, there's like people lining the track everywhere for like the distance night. So like I missed out on that, but just being there and being in such a high class Canadian field and feeling like I like have the potential to do really well is awesome. And I think it's only going to grow. I think we got a really solid group here, so.
Absolutely.
And those big, sorry to cut you off there, but those big races last year, like where everybody was trying to reach Olympic standards, you know, like Athletics Canada now kind of took the momentum from that and came up with their own like to help people qualify for world champs in Oregon and all that. Like they came up with their own series. You think that's gonna help you guys like maybe not go stateside as much, like have more of the Canadian competition like be here?
Yeah, I think it's really good that they have those meets. They also, I think this year, like, they got a bit more funding from, I don't know if it's from, like, World Athletics or whatever, but there's more prize money, too, which is more incentive for people to come in. So I think that's huge. And those meets will be even bigger this year. Like, they had something like that last year, or at least tried to make it with a lot of the similar meets. But because of COVID, it's like people weren't really traveling to those meets. It was only like local, so it really hardly made any sense. But I feel like this year growing on that, it'll just be even better, and there'll be more people racing and more people paying attention and watching those meets.
I've been seeing that on like online. They recently just announced it. It's like a Canadian track like league. Like,
I was gonna bring that up.
That's exactly
like, what are your thoughts on that? I just like I don't know too much about it. I just seen it. It looked kind of sketch to me. At first, I didn't even think it was real.
Well, like, you look at the picture. I remember, what was it? Josh, who used to be on the team, shared it on his Instagram page. And I remember looking at the picture. It was like, what that Horizons logo I had before the podcast. This, like, grainy, like, logo.
The pixelated version.
It looked like this, like, almost like this half-ass description of, like, not really knowing what it was really that much about. I mean, do people get drafted to this? As like a
I'm not sure.
NHL, NFL draft?
Actually, I read into it a little bit. It's like, the idea is they're gonna make like 4 teams or something, and then like I don't know who picks it, or like there's like a team captain or something, or like someone who like almost like owns or sponsors the team. And then they like pick from the pool of eligible athletes.
So aside from the UW preview, the next big meet I think that everybody knows is coming up is going to be the Milrose Games. There should be a couple big names from Canada going. I know for a fact a fellow BC runner who actually went to the Olympics last year for steeplechase. He should be going, John Gay. He ran for UBC. He's kind of trained in BC like his whole life, and now he's pretty much in the professional ranks. Probably approaching his prime. He's had crazy breakthroughs over COVID. I know he broke 4 in the mile actually at a local Burnaby track, so that's pretty cool. Yeah.
That guy's a grinder. He's out there right now at undisclosed location with Carlos right now, Carlos Vargas. Yeah, the boys are just training out there, getting runs in. So looking forward to see what they do. But
love undisclosed locations. Like this radio show right now.
Exactly.
Like this is don't tell Brett we're in a basement though. I said I was gonna make the joke. I wasn't gonna drop it for real. But no, Milrose Games is always a big one. It's always exciting. Yeah. Always a good time. Catch it on Flow Track. If you're not, what are you doing?
I'm really excited to watch that one. Actually,
I'm really excited too. There's always some big performances thrown down there. What do you think's gonna be? I know they have a 3K field there. Like, what are we thinking time wise? Like, do you think there's gonna be some people getting the low 740s? Like, we already saw it. Like with you, there's some runners running like 745 already. So
that's a tough question. Honestly, I don't know. It's like depends how the race goes out. It depends what they're pacing it for. So.
And also depends who's actually racing. Do we even know? Is there even a set
list?
There
has been a field announced.
Okay.
I don't even remember all the names. I just know.
For each event or only because the most that I can find is I go onto the Milrose Games Twitter account. I've seen like the mile field for the guys, the women's 3K.
It's no 3K.
Yeah.
Should we try to find some right now?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I don't know why, but it seems like they're keeping some of these start lists like top secret.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, either way, I think it'll be pretty good meet, and I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it'll be faster than like 7:45. This early is very fast, but I think a lot of those guys like
Saturday, January 29th, 2022.
Yeah, that would be.
But that's like that's the schedule. That's the schedule.
One cool thing I did see though is that CPT is going to be in the mile. So he's actually gone crazy since he's made his return last year. What did he run, like 353, 352 in the mile during that series after?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And 334 in the 15-ish. So I don't know. Both of those races will be fun. I love watching track. I'm a fan, so I'm excited to watch.
Well, you
I
hope
hope
so.
you're a fan.
Yeah, I'm really finding nothing right now. The Masters meet. I think Tom Dixon should go race. Drop a fucking I want him to drop 5 seconds in the 60 meter. That's what I want.
5.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I know that they did release the ones you saw on Twitter and like on Instagram, but either way, I think with the way distance running is going, just in North America right now, there's definitely potential for people to run really fast. I don't know. I don't think anyone's going to run under 740, but I think 740 low or somewhere in the 740s is definitely possible.
How about the mile? What do we think for the mile? It'd be nice to see a low 350. I don't know if anybody's going to break the indoor mile record that was set a few years ago.
Yeah, it's weird because like to think about, so like last year when the Oregon guys ran 350, but it's like a whole different beast because that's like college running. So those guys are like, the training is a lot different than the pro scene.
Yeah, they were primed at that point, basically.
So a lot of these guys coming to this one are going to be like super raw fitness from their base build up. So I don't know, but I mean, some guys are just ridiculous nowadays. So we could see something gnarly, and I hope we do.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool to see some good times get dropped. You know, like as fun as it is to have tactical racing and people want to go for the win, they want to go for prize money and all that.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about watching like an all out, like just runners just gutting it out for a fast time. Like that's personally when I like it best.
Nothing.
No, all of last year, that's kind of what you were like doing. Oh, not all of last year, but for the majority of it,
Most
right?
of it, yeah.
You and like the SFU track squad, you guys been just doing like time trials and everything.
It's literally all time trials, just going for time. Which, to be fair, is kind of exhausting. Like, it's like super refreshing in like just even like say this indoor season where it's like you run these fast times for the season trying to qualify for whatever or just get good times in general, but then having like your championship meets like conference meets, GNACs, that's so nice because you don't have to worry about a time and it's more just go out and race.
Exactly.
So I'm super stoked for conference meet and then NCAAs because you can run fast and not worry about the time but just go for a win. That's what track and field is. It's racing. It's win the race. It's not run the fastest time necessarily or get just beat the guy next to you instead of worrying about what you're running. So
I mean, I would certainly say I have a different philosophy when it came to track. For me, it was about definitely running a time more than finishing first, second, or third, or fourth. Because at the end of the day, if I ran for example, like just out of speculation, like a 153 at the Olympics, but I finished 8th. Who gives a shit? I ran 143. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like a really.
But
cool
I think
thing to
that's
say.
definitely opinion though, because like
For sure.
that's
No,
a good
no
question.
doubt.
Would you rather, like, win Olympics, so Olympic gold, which is, I think, unarguably the
Highest
pinnacle
achievement.
of
Yeah.
track and field, or would you get the world record but
yeah.
never win a world championships, never win Olympics?
I mean, who was it that said that he would trade his world record for an Olympic medal because he never got an Olympic medal? I forget the name, but he was a long distance runner. But he did say, in fact, that I would 100%, without a doubt, give up my world records for an Olympic medal. I mean,
I think like ever since you're a kid and you're in track and field, like your goals are always on making it to the Olympics, and like
right.
if you're going to the Olympics, you're gonna go to like you want to win, right? You don't go to any race kind of thinking, oh, I'll place like maybe like top 5. You kind of want to like
you want to win.
you want to win every
no
race.
doubt.
So Olympic gold, I think personally, like I'd have to go for that. I wouldn't as well as I love like history, making history and all that. Like Olympic gold would kind of be like the thing that you kind of just bring home. You know, you bring it back to like your country and also to like your community, right? Like
For sure, and I mean, unlike a record, no one can take away that medal from you.
yeah.
So that's certainly the argument. I mean, I it's certainly tough. I mean, I think with my philosophy when I was running track and still running right now, it's certainly more about. I find track was always about self-improvement, whether that's physically, mentally, on and off the track. That was always the mindset I had, and part of that mindset goes with the idea that to me it's about just running faster and faster and faster, because I know if, at least physically, I am improving. I'm improving in some sort of way. It's almost like a direction at least. Is it nice to win? 100%. I don't like finishing 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, or 5th.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think to me it's certainly more important with that idea though, that it's more important for me to run fast than it is to win. I think if, again, like in a meet where like maybe 7 guys broke the world record, and so did I'd still be happy, right?
Yeah.
Although the first guy is the one that gets the world record and he's the one that wins. I mean, and to me it's like also saying if I did have a world record, it'd be like, I am the fastest human to ever have done that, and no one can argue
true.
that.
That's
like,
true.
You could walk around with like, you know, just
For a year or two.
for a year or two, probably.
Exactly.
Until someone beats it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the world record, like David Rudisha, the 8 with the 140.
Yeah.
Is someone gonna run 139? Like,
Probably.
That's a 100%.
Eventually, like time is always a test, right? And eventually, like it always wins, right? But I mean, looking at Matt Central, who won the gold and like at the Olympics, everyone kind of like clowned him, like especially in like the distance world. Everyone clowned him for like one of the slowest ever 1500 meter.
Yeah.
The slowest.
Oh, the slowest, yeah.
So
So
there was like
I don't clown him.
355 or something.
That makes
like
it
that.
better. He's a champ. Like, he's a champ. If you can pull that off, I think it's sick. I know a lot of people hate that about him, but
Well, it's like it's one thing to run like, I don't know the exact time, like 3:55, but to run 3:55 with a 50-second last lap, like okay, come
Yeah,
on,
that's
that's
ridiculous.
nobody's just gonna do that. Like that's pretty.
And not to mention like the pressure of being on that world stage. Like again, like ever since you're a kid, you're thinking of making it to that like
That level,
play-
exactly
level.
where he is. Right?
exactly, and then to come out with the gold, I think that's like one of the special, like the most special things you can do in like track and field.
Yeah, exactly.
You got the guy from London. This is a pedestrian light pond. Here we go. There's
Yeah,
nothing going.
that's the
I remember
thing.
watching that actually with my dad, and I was
Yeah.
going, "What the hell? What is this? This guy's a colossal pussy. What's this guy doing? Like, you just go out and run." I mean,
Exactly.
again, back to this idea of with philosophy
Yeah.
of track, it's like all in or nothing at the end of the day, right? Run fast, turn left. You're putting it all out there. You mean you're putting it all out there on while you're practicing.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna expect your competitors to be putting it all out too, and you're trying to push the sport forward.
Yeah.
So you're trying to run faster times. So, I mean, like we're saying, I don't disrespect Matt Centrowitz for doing that. I don't care. He's the one with the gold medal around his neck at the Olympics. Can't take that
but
away
it's
from
not.
him.
It's not just him. He didn't just do it.
No,
It's
the
everyone else.
entire field did, right? They just
Yeah.
they went with them, so no one took charge. So
If
it's not
anything-
his fault either.
If anything, he
He
it's
set
saying
the
he's a
tone.
pussy. He's the one who's not a pussy because everyone else was too scared to lead,
Yeah,
and
for
he
sure.
led because he's taking that risk because he knows his skill set. You know, he can close.
Yeah.
So.
I surely want to state though I don't think Matt Centrowitz is a pussy.
Yeah.
We're gonna quote me on that right now. Matt Centrowitz is not a pussy. Like, he's
Aaron,
really
I
fast.
know. I know you actually have like a kind of a different mentality than Bauer, where it's like instead of always just going like all out, you actually told me this one time in a practice where you're like, don't go out of yourself like in a practice. I just remember we came off of not making it to Nats, and then we're running practices, and like you could tell everyone's kind of running on emotion because like we're all upset that we lost, so or that we didn't make it. So then you were kind of like the first person, like the leader, to say like, guys, like relax a little bit and stay within yourselves and don't like
and move forward.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. So like, what are your like? I guess I want to hear like kind of your mentality about that.
No, that's like a good topic, and I think that's something I've kind of learned recently too. I actually had a good chat with Aiden about it after. So we did this workout at home. We were doing 400s, and I actually didn't do the last rep because I chose not to. And I told him, he's like, why didn't you do the last rep? Like, could you have done the last rep? And I was like, yeah, I could have done the last rep, but it would have been too slow. It's like, especially well, you have to know what type of training you're doing and why you're doing it. So say you're doing like these 400s and they're at 1500 pace, which is like the 1500 is like literally you just riding right on your lactic threshold. And if you go over your threshold, then there is some merit for some workouts to do that. But like if you look at the Ingebrigtsen's training, if you have the access to like lactate test, like mid-workout, you wouldn't want to run any of your reps over your threshold. You want to stay right at your threshold. So it's like you got to know when you can just go in like some workouts. Like if you're doing like, we do 5 400s, that workout, that's like a huge one. And that one's like, just send it like full lactic, just go fast. But on this one, it's like you're doing a specific task. And if you, like I screwed up that workout, I went out a bit too hard. So it's like me doing that last rep when I'm drowning in lactic right now is I'm not gaining anything. You know? So it's like being able to like recognize that it's like I'm not doing this last rep because I'm a pussy. I'm not doing it because I already screwed up the workout and I'm not getting anything out of this. And that was the same thing for like our team during cross season. It's like we put in so much to every workout, and it's not really our fault. It's because we wanted the results. Like we were super motivated. But we got to the point where we were just overtraining a little bit, and you have to be able to be mature enough to like be like, okay, this isn't working, or we're giving a bit too much, so you have to take a step back. And that's hard to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like for a lot of like unexperienced runners, you wouldn't know where like to like stop in a way, because when you're just kind of getting into sport, you kind of just send it like every practice, every run, right? And then I guess it's like the more experienced, like the more like in a way like mature runners, you kind of realize like not every day has to be like that, right?
Well, there's such a thing as overtraining, right? And I mean, again, with my philosophy, I mean that's what I have my philosophy for racing. I'm not saying that applies to training. Like for me, training was like just do what Britt tells me to do at the times that Britt tells me, and that's it. I don't question it. I don't think about it. She's the coach. She's the Olympian. I'm going to trust her, right? And I mean that's the idea. So it's just about putting the work that you need to be putting in, and with the idea of maturity, like you were saying, it seems to be the case. Everybody did it. I certainly did it. When you first come to the collegiate level out of high school, you're not the fastest kid at your high school anymore, right? You're not the fastest kid on the team, right? You're in a group of people who are literally doing this now, right? And it seems like freshmen they wanted to overtrain, and they want to put in the work so they could catch up and get to that level. And next thing you know, people are getting these like little minor injuries in their foot, or they have like some little shin splint action going on.
I certainly experienced that all of last year.
And you find people doing like 10 to 15K on their off days at like 4:05 for some reason for a kilometer. Not that it's crazy fast, but that's just too much, right? There's such thing as overtraining, and how you have to keep in mind that your body does need to rest and it needs to recover. And I always said, when I was running, there needs to be a day off where you don't think about running, you don't run, like you're literally just allowing your body to do something else apart from what you're doing 6 days a week. I know people do train 7 days a week. That's their prerogative. If that's works for them, that's totally cool. I just always try to think about what works best for me as an athlete individually.
No, that's really like, I think that's really interesting to look at as well, like how everyone's different. Aaron, what do you really like do for your like schedule? Do you take a day off? Do you go 7 days a week? What do you do?
I go 7 days a week. I don't know. I never really liked taking a day off, and it's like my day off would have just been easy running anyways. And after all this time, I know that I can handle that schedule. So I know people are successful on the 6-day schedule with a complete day off, but I don't know. This isn't working for me. So I'm at the point now where I've had a lot of, like, throughout even the university career, like in my first year, second year, third year, just like learning a lot about what works for you, and that comes from getting little trial and error, literally.
Exactly.
So I don't know. That's what works for me. So that's what I do. And that's what sucks coming in as a freshman, I feel like, because you don't necessarily have the formula right away. And it's not like, for the most part, like, coaches know what every athlete needs, but like a lot of it is just figuring out for yourself what works for you. So I think I went through that and figured out this is what works for me. So why change it at this point? I mean, I'm having results. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember reading one article about the like training 7 days a week thing, and like, yeah, there's like a certain, it was basically saying there's like a certain point that like some elite runners reach where, yeah, like really there's no point in taking like a full day off. Like they could just, if anything, they could plan their run out where, let's say they run at like 8 a.m. one morning, and the next morning they run like, let's say like 2 p.m. or something like that, right? They're so fit that within that 24-hour period, like just even giving themselves more than the 24 hours, like from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., like they can just recover so well. And like you said, if you're running the workouts the way they're supposed to be run, and you're taking your time that's easy, like actually easy, then you know, like 7 days a week, it does work for some people, you know. But then again, that's like different events. Like I hear a lot about these 800 guys who, all the hard speed work and stuff that they do, like they have to take almost a day off, right? Rather just because of like the impact and all that. But then so yeah, it really is interesting how that can change so much.
Just before we close things down real quick on this first episode, man, gotta mention Alison with her 800 208, huge, beat the heat by what, 8 seconds?
8 seconds, and like it wasn't just that she was 8 seconds ahead from the gun. It was 300 meters left. She was maybe a second or two ahead, and she made a 6-second cushion within 300 meters. Like absolutely unreal. That's one of the most, aside from like the mile 3K, that's probably one of the most impressive races I saw
100%.
throughout the whole meet. Like that was just, it was something.
That's
Congratulations to her, man. I mean, now she's leading in all collegiate levels in the 800. It's funny, I talked to her the next day, and she was saying how her coach, like Britt, was saying, like, basically she said, if you go out the way you usually do, like, I'll kill you. Like, because Alison tends to, like, go out just from the gun hard, and that's just who she is. That's, like that's her run. That's her race, right? But it was crazy to see her kind of, like, hold back in a way, and it worked out perfectly. I mean, 300 meters to go, she just sent it. And
really put it down.
Yeah.
And of course, Addy Townsend, 4:32.14.
Oh yeah.
Big PB, big breakthrough, which was huge as well. That was a strong race.
Another Canadian runner too, Madison Heisterman. She went 3:34. Like that's she's
huge.
Still like in her early collegiate years, I'm pretty sure as well. So that's pretty impressive as well. So okay, so just before we wrap up this first episode here, we've had you here the whole time so far, Jose, and we actually haven't had you introduce yourself. So you know the title of this podcast.
I did the whole intro. Sorry, I'm a little shaky. It's been a while.
No, but I guess I'll just introduce myself. Like, I'm Jose Castro. I'm a second year student at SFU. I'm a communications major, and I'm on the SFU track and field team. And I'm one of the co-founders with Carlos, who's a SFU alum. And basically, what Horizon is just like we've witnessed some of our teammates like become some of the greatest runners in Canada, and they were getting no media attention, no like exposure. So we just thought, like, why not pick up a camera and start recording the boys? And from there, that's where it kind of just grew into almost like a brand and like a movement. Our motto actually is closing the gap, always chasing the horizon. And with that, we just kind of want to inspire like Canadian runners and also just like people in general to go for what they want in life and like just become the greatest like person they can be. So luckily, we have some of the best Canadian runners, such as Aaron here, who are kind of like the shoot, I forgot.
The catalyst?
Yeah, sure, like the catalyst, kind of showcasing like you can become the greatest from wherever you're from, right? So yeah, that's just kind of like what Horizon is. And now that we have this podcast going, expanding the horizon is just to kind of talk about like the Canadian runners and again give more exposure to the sport in Canada, but also just to kind of create like a fan base with the sport and also with the runners. So
yeah, exactly. Because like I was saying earlier, you know, like there is a lot of diamonds in the rough, I guess you could say. Like, you know, like pre-COVID, you didn't really hear about these guys. Like, and then over the break when nothing was going on, like Aaron, for example, and lots of other runners too, you know, they put their head down, they come out the other end, and like now he's like one of the best 1500 meter runners in all of Canada. So, you know, like, there definitely needs to be attention brought to this, right? Like,
no, for sure. And I mean, just looking back at the Olympic trials in 2021, the guy that came first in the 15, he's a sponsored athlete, CPT, with like New Balance, and you know, he's a professional, but the guys second, third, and fourth right behind him, they're all unsponsored athletes, 2 of them being collegiate athletes, and they like I said, they don't have any exposure. So I just think like it's kind of unfair it's not right for these guys who I've seen personally train like every single day, like in and out, leading workouts, leading like every like race almost, and they don't get any exposure. I think like there had to be a change. So
there has to be a platform, baby.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I just to touch on what you're just saying before we wrap it up, like a guy like Cameron Friziviat comes in at SFU with what, like a 206 PB in the 800, but he's dropping sub 4 in the mile, 148 in the 8,
337 now in the 15.
337 in the 15. Like the potential's in anybody. You can't hard work outweighs talent, right? So yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, so it's definitely great what you guys are doing, and you know, like, we gotta wrap it up for this week though. But like, it's been great having you guys on. Aaron, thank you for being our first guest of honor.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Big, man. Hopefully, in a couple years' time, we can look back on this, get you back possibly. We'll see.
Sir.
But yeah,
awesome. Nick Bauer, Jose Castro, Aaron Ahl, Kieran House, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. We'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Yes, sir. There we go, boys.